So I think we are kind of in line, but with what you were mentioning, it's very unique to be here for us and very important also. And I think that one of the most important things that I will take back to Colombia is the role of facilitator that Sensei was mentioning before in his presentation. So I think that maybe from GADRI we should make this effort to have more facilitators in different countries, because that's key to reach academia, research, and the government. I found that very important, and I suggest that we enhance that. Thank you.
In the past several days, looks like we worked very hard. We identified what are the important research problems, what things we need to address to reduce disaster risk. And so I'm thinking GADRI has a great number of members, and also we have regional alliances. So after we identify the problem, we want to address the problem. So actually, through the GADRI and also alliance members, we have a great number of advanced researchers. Maybe each regional alliance can get some assignment, that is to identify the advanced research to address the problems we identified in the past 7 days. And so this way, regional alliances report this at a certain interval. For example, half a year or yearly to GADRI, and GADRI can inform United Nations. And so this way, the advanced research can benefit the entire world for disaster risk reduction. Thank you.
Okay, are we wrapping up?
Just one quick comment from me, and I'm Elizabeth, the founder from NID, Japan National Research Institute for Science and Disaster Resilience on. And I just want to add, first of all, I'd like to congratulate everyone here, and particularly the GADRI secretariat, for this great success. And without you, we can't make such a great achievement. So this is my quick remarks. And these things that are already raised by Tom and Rajiv, and we could involve the government or other stakeholders. Actually, I'm working for the National Research Institute now, and I'm from the Ministry, MIT. And those stakeholders could be involved, and then we discuss and we open stage and data for the decision making and policy making. But if government doesn't listen to what we have said, so it's just so this is the thing. And also thank you, Charlie and the colleagues, and I was also involved in the networking team and thinking about how to reach out to the outside of GADRI, like I said. But also we need to emphasize internal communication, and not only institutional based, but also the individual. So this is the knowledge and great interdisciplinary and let's say that cross-disciplinary work we could achieve. So thank you very much, and thank you very much for to invite to be thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much to all our colleagues from the PRI and all the Japanese institutions that have been working so hard for this venue. I just was wondering about what we do in the middle of the summits. I think we have been here very happy, and we enjoy very much how we can share synergies, concerns, facing challenges and so on. But I think it would be very useful for us to establish or to suggest any kind of mechanism to get together now that we are very much used to work online and Zoom and all that, so that we can really work together between the summits, because when we are here we have a very, very nice time and we want to do many things, but we have to face also that all of us have other commitments, are very busy most of the time, but if we establish a kind of a mechanism to work together at regional community level and also as a whole GADRI, I think we could advance even more in our objectives. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. First of all, Charles Scott on UC Berkeley. First of all, I want to echo that the Japanese government, Kyoto University, and Professor Takano deserve our thanks for all the support over the years. So thank you very much. With regard to the GE and GADRI Global, GADRI was initially conceived both as an inward and outward organism. Inward in the sense that we would come together and work together and learn from each other. And that is happening to some extent, although it could be fostered much more. And as Hiroshima just said, we need to develop a mechanism for more frequent contact. Tom Giroux has already emphasized that also. And I will come back to a mechanism that may, to some extent, fulfill that need. But the outward, I want to talk a little bit more about the outward look. GADRI was originally conceived not only inward in exchange of information, but also outward, just for 200 institutions to speak with one voice. That global disaster research didn't really have a representative, a voice, and GADRI was conceived as that voice. Particularly in not only on a global stage, but in many countries, emerging economies where disaster research institutes were particularly struggling. GADRI could come in and lend their social capital, their credibility to those institutions and help them to thrive in a more arid environment, so to speak, a financially arid environment. So, and on that regard, I would like to see GADRI more advocacy-oriented. I don't think it's advocating enough. We should be advocating for disaster research funding. We ought to come up with a number of percentage of GDP that should be dedicated to that. We could spend decades discussing how to come up with that number and everything else. Just come up with a number, that's a start. We could be asking our member research institutes who needs support internally with their national authorities or their regional authorities, and GADRI could then provide that support, and so on. Now, with regard to the mechanism, I would suggest the following: that GADRI encourage its member regional alliances, NADRI, SADRI, AFSRI, whatever the European one is called, or the UK. And every 2 months, for example, from one of these regional alliances, a GADRI lecture is given. I would propose, for example, Dr. Alexander, Professor Alexander might give the first one. Or there are many other eminent people here who could do that. Give that lecture, maybe have a 2-hour session where the lecture is on the order of 45 minutes, an hour of discussion. It's global in Zoom. That provides a mechanism, because other people will either tune in real time or can tune in later and catch the lecture and the discussion. And that would be a small but useful unifying mechanism. Those people who are selected to give those lectures, there would be half a dozen a year, so not that many people, could be identified as GADRI laureates or GADRI fellows, whatever. And as they attend other meetings, they would be authorized, case by case, in liaison with the board of directors, to represent GADRI at the International Conference of Scientific Unions, or the IASPA meeting, or whatever, a UN meeting, where they could actually attend and speak for GADRI at that meeting on a targeted opportunity basis. So those are some of my thoughts. To be able to advocate, we don't need a lot of resources. We just need to be a little creative. Not very. But,
I want to follow up with another mechanism for people to work together. If each of us here can watch out for international collaborative opportunities from our own country. For example, the U.S. National Science Foundation, they have some programs to support international collaboration. And the recent one would be the National Science Foundation Global Centers. And they promote the youth-inspired research for climate change and clean energy. This time they promote the collaboration between the US and Canada or UK or Australia. So I encourage all of us to watch out for this opportunity and reach out to GADRI members and reach out to other alliance members to work together. Thank you.
Well, key points. Number one, deep gratitude to all the organizing committee members, to Professor Dharma, staff of DPR and University. Secondly, a request for including those most vulnerable parts of the world, known as Pacific Island nations, especially the South Pacific countries, including Fiji, Tuvalu, Samoa, Vanuatu, etc. And thirdly, as a word for me, and I'm very happy to volunteer for that. I realize that I'm the only person at the moment physically presenting this conference from Australia, New Zealand, and probably the entire Australasian region. And although my university, Charles Darwin University, is a member of GADRI for more than 5 years, started with Professor who is now very sick, unfortunately. So he's not able to participate actively. I'm happy to volunteer, but I'm looking forward to the guidance from GADRI as well as the regional alliances. I've spoken with a couple of people already to start an Australasian alliance, which may include Australia, New Zealand, and Pacific Island nations to come and join more actively in the activities and programs. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. So the chair has very few jobs, but want us to keep us on time. So we're going to celebrate it, so I'm going to cut off the conversation. Can any of you remember being part of an event where so many very different voices from all over the world, different backgrounds, were able to talk with us together on the same topic about doing our job better and helping us? And that was really exciting. And the last few days have been, for me, very energizing. So I really enjoyed that conversation. I enjoyed it before. If I can throw just a couple thoughts, because your list isn't long enough of all the notes that Hero made here from the excellent ideas from all. Personally, when I am planning my time, I reflect on things that happen every year in a different way than things that happen every 2 years or some other things. I keep missing getting into my schedule if they're not every year. So I don't know if we're going to quickly change and try to do this every year, but this combination of how do you travel or how do you not travel, and might we do a virtual summit in between doing an in-person summit. One thought. The one that has really stayed with me, when we first met and officially launched the charter for GADRI, there were some high-level objectives that we put into the charter. After this week, we are speaking in much more tangible, specific terms. We want this, we want this, we want this. As we come together as a community, the big challenge now is to achieve all of those things. If we really want those things, then we achieve those things. A process that didn't exist before. We now have GADRI. We now have GADRI with committees that are charged with racing ahead in all these areas that were identified by us collectively. This is important. We now have a process so we can start to think about how to achieve these things. But to turn that in, we get everybody volunteering. And if it's not those of us here volunteer, you have the rest of the people in your institution. And you have so many. You have some young ones, some who would really enjoy being involved. And And so this week, you've given us much clearer direction of specifics to do, opportunities to do. Now we need to realize them. We'll realize them because we have a process for doing that. And so can you find more time to work in that process to achieve these that we're trying to do and involve others from your institutions as it goes forward? For me, the biggest objective of GADRI, I'm proud of what my institution has been able to do on its own. With GADRI, I hope to do more. And it's by learning from you, it's by sharing, it's by supporting you in a number of different ways. GADRI allows each of us to do more than if we had to do this on our own. And so how to achieve that? We set a charter, we have a process to try to do that. That will be asking for time, asking for you to bring your colleagues in the process. But we have a process, and we have goals, and we're very specific. Anyway, I'm very interested. I really, really okay. Keeping us close to the schedule, because we have a party to go to. So over to Earl is going to talk about both series.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, it should be very quick, right? The book series actually, that is a kind of a device for all of you can contribute for the GADRI activities. But we have been published already 4 books, 3, and also one is waiting for the publication. But not very, well proceeded. So I think it is maybe that from the beginning, it would be, from the beginning to now, maybe it already 5 years. So I think we should also consider a kind of the, renewal of the, group plan for the publication. But if you have already, proceeded for the publication, please let us know. And then, of course, we may not, remove from that list, of course, right? And also, new members definitely, we are always welcome for the disaster risk and the name disaster and risk research, GADRI book series. So it is definitely a very valuable place for you to publish. That is Springer is a publisher. And then the 6th Global Summit, this one, also, we didn't request you, but we will maybe request, especially for the keynote speakers, to provide some articles for the proceedings. And also, most of the group discussions, if you have some input, can be the chapter of the proceedings, it will be very nice. So this kind of request can be made very soon. This is the GADRI book series once, and actually this is the Global Summit proceedings. If you like, maybe just look at it, and then I cannot give you, but anyway, this is the kind of sample. And the other publications, as you know, that definitely GADRI always publish GADRI actions every quarter, and then in the website you may look at it. But many cases we are sometimes short of lack of some paper articles. So let's say this is the kind of new my assistant professor write a kind of summary of the research achievement also. And disaster reports, whatever you did in your institutes or alliances, regional alliances, please provide an article to Wilma. She is delighted to put it into this. So I would like to ask you to provide this article also. And this is very remarkable. The annual report has such sequence, but used to be a very, very thin because very few members can contribute for the report what you did in this year. But actually, as you see this, right? And we can understand easily what is emphasized for your institutes, and in what way we can collaborate with each other. So please do not hesitate, or please plan, or write 2 pages, right? And in annual report, every year. Maybe please allocate this job, or maybe for your, let's say, staffs, or maybe yourself, but not very difficult, please do that. Then that is a kind of a report for the publication from GADRI Secretariat side. Yes, thank you very much. That is, this is from my side.
That's it. So, unless somebody has other business, the last item on the agenda before we break from the general meeting, General Assembly, is to talk about the next summit. So, although we'll keep throwing out a lot of other ideas, the plan is to do a summit in about 2 years' time. We would like to come back to the board and make a decision about a date or venue about everything sooner. So you put it in your calendars. I've got my calendar for 2 years from now, so I'd like to put a date in sooner. As we go forward. So any institution, any member institution that would like to host the next summit, please let the board of directors know. We would prefer to know sooner in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, while we are discussing, actually, as we discussed it maybe before, right? And the last summit is planned for the organizer in Europe, but unfortunately, COVID prevented the organizer in that was the European session of the Global Summit. Then we have virtual ones, and then at that time we decided once in 2 years. It will be organized in Kyoto, but once in 2 years in outside of Kyoto. That is basically the policy we decided. So if it is still fine, the next occasion, if possible, we would like to ask you to volunteer to provide a venue of the, or to be an organizer of the next summit. So so.
And just in case anybody's worried that we will have no one step forward, John,
so at the board meeting 2 days ago, I did throw out Colorado in the U.S. As a potential option. If somebody else wants it, certainly, we would yield. But I obviously need to. I think I'm waiting to see some financials and things and other information from Wilma and Hero and others. So don't let that dissuade you from volunteering. But we definitely, as I said in my comment, 20, 30 minutes ago, I love the event, and I think, we'd love to bring people to the beautiful Rocky Mountains. So if you would like to do that, again, if somebody is very interested, if Europe wants it because it was virtual last time, we'll step aside and do it in 29 or whatever. I don't know if my math's right, but I need to have math lab or something. So
all right. So it's been a great week. Any other business to come before assembly? Great turnout, terrific participation by everybody, and I'm very, very energized. And a lot of promise of what GADRI has the potential in very specific terms. We have to do it together. So we will be asking you to do more. And please, when you return, your colleagues and others, find ways to get them involved, have them participate. Very exciting. Here on the team. But to close,
yes, thank you, Paul. Yes, I will take you to the market, right? So please follow me. But before that, maybe if you can help the students to clean up all of these places. This is actually should be clean. Completely